Good afternoon, everyone. Chanukah is around the corner. And our topic for this session is actually dealing with a culture war that happened at the time between the Jews and the Greeks. So the title is The Wisdom of the Jewish Wisdom versus the Greek Wisdom. I will start from a quote from a medrash that relate to, or it's in the pasuk of Brias Olam, in the beginning, the description of the creation, in the second pasuk in the Torah. After the first one, Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, the second pasuk is ve'haaretz hayta tohu vavohu ve'choshech al pnei tehom ve'ruach Elokim merachefet al pnei hamayim. On this pasuk, the medrash says the following. It's a medrash Rabbah. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish patar kra b'malchuyot. So, in the deeper level, which is, there is a pshat, the pshat is the pshat, but we're talking about the drash, and the drash we have to remember is the third, we have the pardes, pshat, remez, drash, vesod. So, the remez, the drash is close to the secret. The rule is that en mikra yotze midei pshuto, that the first understanding of the pasuk, the way it looks, but there are deeper levels. So in the medrash level, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish says that this pasuk is describing actually the future of the history, the future history of the universe. So he says that this pasuk speaks about the malchuyot, the kingdoms that are going to rule the world during the history. So he says the following: Va'aretz hayta tohu, tohu zo galut Bavel, vavohu zo galut Paras u'Madai, vechoshech zo galut Yavan. Vechoshech zo galut Yavan. So the medrash about galut Yavan add few words, שהחשיכה את עיניהם של ישראל בגזרותיה, שהייתה אומרת להם, כתבו לכם על קרן השור, שאין לכם חלק באלוקי ישראל. So, choshech is Yovan. Let's just remember that the way we celebrate the overcoming the Greeks is light, right? So, Yovan is choshech. Why it's choshech? החשיכה את עיניהם של ישראל. The eye is the place that through the eye, with the light, we could see or understand the reality, right? So Chazal called Yovan choshech because it makes the eyes, the ability of the Jews to realize the reality, the real reality, dark. Okay. Now, this kind of medrash repeats itself in few places, but we have to know that Yovan is darkness. The question is why? Because Yovan apparently bring to the world what they called enlightenment, right? They bring wisdom to the world. They have, and the medrash says in different places, Chochma b'goyim ta'amin, Torah b'goyim al ta'amin. We have to appreciate the wisdom of the goyim, and no doubt that if you take all the nations during the history, the Greeks has a very, very important place, the first place in the world. You know, the first philosophers, they built the infrastructure of science, right? To really understand the deep meaning of it, we have to go to a very interesting parsha in the Torah, in Sefer Bereshis. In In this crowd, everybody familiar with it, but let me just quote the psukim. It's in Parshat Noach, when after the Mabul, Noach went out of the Teva and he was agricultural. He started to plant a vineyard. He took the grapes, made out of them wine, get drunk, right? And then everybody remember the story that Ham came and saw him the way he was, and he went to tell his brothers. The brother refused to come to see their father in this situation, so they covered him and they gave him kavod. And then later on, Noach realized what's going on. Let me quote the psukim. Vayiketz Noach miyaino. Noach woke up, became sober again. Vayeda et asher asa lo bno hakatan. He knew what happened. And then he took all three of them. He cursed Ham, not actually Ham, but his son Canaan. Vayomer aru Canaan eved avadim yelecha. Let's leave Canaan now aside and go to the blessing that he gave to the other two. Vayomer Baruch Hashem Elokei Shem Vihi Canaan eved lamu. So Canaan is the slave, but what's the bracha that Shem got? Baruch Hashem Elokei Shem. And let me emphasize the name of Hashem written in Yud Kei Vav Kei over here. Baruch Hashem Yud Kei Vav Kei Elokei Shem Vihi Canaan eved lamu. Then he turned to the other son, Yefet, and he says the following: Yaft Eloikim leYefet veishkon be'oholei Shem vihi Canaan eved lamu. Okay? Now we have to understand the brachos, what actually he says. Deep understanding of it connects this to the brachos that those two sons get to the first pasuk in the Torah. Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. The Torah describes the creation, and the creation is a combination of two things. The physical, which is the Aretz, and the spiritual, which is the Shamayim. So in the creation itself, there are physical and spiritual. So what Noach actually did, he took those two parts and he deposited them or make those two kids in charge of those two. And this is the meaning of Baruch Hashem Elokei Shem. The spiritual dimension of the universe will be in the hand of Shem. As we know, by the way, the name of Shem includes the letters Shin and Mem. Those two letters are in Shamayim, those two letters in Hashem, and those two letters are in the Neshama. And I think in different occasions, I spoke over here very long about this. Well, why Shamayim called Shamayim? It's connected to the word Sham, there. I don't know if you remember it, but I'm not going to go into it now. The other dimension of the universe called Aretz. Aretz is not planet Earth, but the physical dimension in the universe in general. So what is the meaning of Yaft Elokim leYefet? Yaft is obviously connected to the word beauty, Yafeh, right? What is the philosophical definition of beauty? Taking some raw material and shape it. Give it a nice look, right? So this he gave to Yefet, meaning he took those two elements that Hashem created in the universe and he deposited them or give them in charge. You'll be in charge of this, you'll be in charge of this. Yefet, and actually here started the conflict between the Jews and the Greeks. How come? The Jews are from Bnei Shem, right? Avraham Avinu is 10th generation to Noach through Shem, right? Yefet, and of course, Avraham Avinu brought the monotheism to the world, right? And actually from his descendants came all the religion of the world. That speaks about spirituality. Yiddishkeit, of course, Yadut, and lehavdil, elef alfei avdelot, Christianity also, right? Their God is Jewish, and Islam also, lehavdil, and even the Eastern religions, India, and all of this, it's mentioned, ולפני הפילגשים אשר לאברהם נתן אברהם מתנות, וישלחם קדמה אל ארץ קדם. Even the wisdom of the spiritual philosophy in the East come from Avram. Now, Yefet has 7 sons. Let me quote you the pasuk in Bereshis, Perek Yud. ואלה תולדות בני נוח, שם, חם ויפת, ויוולדו להם בנים אחר המבול. Now the Torah give a list of the sons of Yefet. Bnei Yefet, he has 7 sons, Gomer, Umagog, Umadai, Veyavan, Vetuval, Umeshech, Vetiras. So Yavan, the Greeks, were he was the son of Yefet. Yefet got the blessing to be in charge of the physical and shape it and make it nice, and that's actually what they did, right? So here's the source. Here's the source of what's gonna be the big conflict, the big combat between the Jews and the Greeks, and it came to reality at the time of the war of the Hashmonaim, and let's try to describe what happened. I want to make a pause over here. Remember all of this, right? Let's go to learn something that by itself it's very, very important to learn. It's a Mishnah in Maseches Avos, which the Maharal connects to the story of Chanukah. But let's first learn the Mishnah. The Mishnah in Avos is in Perek Dalet, Mishnah Kafchet, very famous Mishnah, but let's analyze it. Rabbi Elazar HaKapar אומר, הקנאה והתאווה והכבוד מוציאים את האדם מן העולם. הקנאה והתאווה והכבוד. So let's first learn the Mishnah the way it is in the very simple level. The Mishnah says that if you have somebody in the world who is very successful, good life, good position, everything, Rabbi Elazar HaKapar gave him an advice. Listen, if you want to keep your status, be careful not to get 3 kinds of diseases. It's not a physical diseases, but it's very severe diseases, which is kin'ah, ta'ava, and kavod. If you will get one of them, of course even more than one, you'll be out of the world. מוציאים את האדם מן העולם. Now what are they? Let's start. Kin'ah. What is kin'ah? Jealousy, right? Kin'ah, ta'ava, desire, and kavod. Pursuing to be respected, honored, okay? The common denominator of all the 3 is the one to get more than you deserve. This is the common denominator. And actually, in a way, to understand it, if you could imagine a monster or a dragon that have 3 heads, okay? So the dragon is the Nachash HaKadmoni. The Nachash HaKadmoni is the dragon, and he has 3 heads. In order to understand Kin'ah, Ta'ava, Kavod, let's try to understand what was the first sin ever. Chet Adam Rishon. What was it? Hashem created Adam Rishon. He put him in Gan Eden. In Gan Eden there were many plants, many kinds of trees. The Torah divided them to 3 categories. Category number 1, Kol etz nechmad lemareh v'tov lema'achal. Every tree that look nice and good for food, to eat. Under this category were many kinds of trees. Then was category number 2, which has a very funny name, and it includes only 1 tree, ve'etz ha'chaim betoch hagan. Category number 3, only 1 tree also, ve'etz hada'at tov v'ra. So Hashem put Adam Rishon in Gan Eden, and He told them, Mikol etz hagan achol tuchel. From all the trees of the garden you could eat, but not from etz hada'at tov v'ra. Nachash HaKadmoni came, the Nachash came, and he tried to make them not listen to Hashem. And what actually he tried to tell them? That the thing that Hashem told you don't eat, you actually want it, you actually need it. And this is actually the trick. The trick of the Sitra Achra, the other side, the Yetzer Hora. The Sitra Achra is Hu Yetzer Hara, Hu Satan, Hu Malach HaMavet. It's the same power. What Yetzer Hora started and continued since then until today with a very good success, to convince you that you need what do you not need. This is it. This is it. And that was the first thing. So this is a dragon. Now let's go to the three heads. Kin'at, Ahava, Kavod. The common denominator is always to convince you that you need what you really do not need. And it seems innocent, but it's going to take you out of the world. Let's start from jealousy. What's so bad about jealousy? So everybody for sure knows that we do not want to be in a society where there are jealous people. It's not pleasant, at least. But the Mishnah says something even severe. That it's going to take you out of the world. It's take you out of the reality. What is the definition of jealousy? Remember this, I think from the entire shiur, if you will take only this, that would be great. I heard something amazing about the definition of jealousy. Jealousy is the following. I have enough, but how come you have more? And it's smart, it's deep. Let's see. What is the meaning of this? I had everything that I need. The fact that you are here and you have more make me feel that I'm missing something, which is not true. I had enough. If you were not here, I was the happiest person ever. But you are here, and you have more than me. And then I feel that I'm missing something that actually I'm not missing. But you know what? The jealous person do not know it. He think you really need this. And because of this, people get to competition, to jealousy, to hatred, to war, to even murder. Because of this. This is the simple level. I'm going to go to the deeper level, but this is... So, what is the definition of jealousy? I have enough, but I feel that I need more than I need. Okay, this is jealousy. Ta'ava. What is ta'ava? Desire. Again, to take more than you need. For example, very simple thing that everybody could relate to. We need to eat. We need to eat. Hashem made us need to eat. What we should eat. Something healthy. Something that we need. If you're Jewish, something kosher, right? That's what you need to eat. People, the fact is that the vast majority of people prefer to eat something that's tasty, yummy, more than healthy. This is the fact. And this is one kind of desire. Again, to take more than you really need. See the common denominator? The last one is kavod. Kavod. Why kavod is so negative? I mean, pursuing kavod. What is kavod? Appreciate me. Now, if somebody, everybody has a self-respect, should have. But we want much more than that, and this is the problem. I mean, people want much more than that. What's the problem with this? Let's take somebody, why people will respect someone? Because of many reasons. Because he's smart, because he or she are wealthy, are beautiful, something like this, right? So imagine somebody, let's say a smart person, a real smart person. Genius, right? If this person, and people appreciate him because he is genius, if he will come and demand, give me more respect, I'm genius. Even if people will give it to him, they will despise him in their heart, right? Why? Why? So what if he's demanding? Because we realize that there is a lie over here. Something not correct. Why? But he's genius. Why not to respect him? He demanded, let's give it to him. Why we feel the despise? Because there is a lie. You know what's the lie? The smartest person in the world never invent his IQ. He got it as a gift, right? We're gifted. We're gifted in wisdom, we're gifted in whatever. When somebody wants to take the credit for the fact that he is genius, when he is not the real cause of his geniusness, right? It's a lie. Somebody give it to you, right? So in the good case, you are only a partner. So why do you want the entire credit? This is the lie. And actually, the only cover that we could really give to someone is to Hashem. As you know, Mi hu ze melech hakavod. Hashem tzvakot melech hakavod. Why? Because he created everything. Nobody gives to him. He has everything. So when I want kavod, and I am ignoring the cause that give me the reason to have the kavod for health, for wealth, for wisdom, for whatever, I'm lying. I'm taking more than I'm really deserve. Okay? We got the simple level of the Mishnah. Stand up. Okay? Now let's go deeper. Says the Maharal. The king of the universe is Hashem. We know it. Adon Olam Hashem Malach Beterem Kol Yisrael. Even before the creation, he is the king. When he was created, he hid his kingdom by the world. Therefore, it's called Ribono Shel Olam. Adon Olam. He is the master of what? Of Olam. What's Olam? Olam is Ne'elam. It's concealment. So, the kingdom of Hashem is hidden, and you could look at the world and not see the cause of it. You could think mistakenly that the reason of the world is in the world itself. And we could see many scientists could research the world and they do not see God. They do not see the Creator. So, Ha'olam ma'alim et malchut Hashem. Ha'olam is a concealment of malchut Hashem. Avraham Avinu was the one who announced that there is a master of the universe. Vayikra sham b'shem Hashem kel olam. Hashem is the power beyond the world. From Avraham Avinu come the Am Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu. And this is what we announce in the world, that there is a master of the universe. Says the Maharal, because of the free will of the Jewish nation as a nation, we said Na'aseh v'Nishma in Ma'amad Sinai. We are going to be the representative of Hashem in the world, but we have a free will, and we used it wrong. As Hashem said, "Im b'chukotai telechu v'et mitzvotai tishmeru v'asitem otam." If you will keep the mitzvos and you'll be loyal to the Na'aseh v'Nishma, you will stay in Eretz Yisrael forever. If not, you're going to go to exile. And we didn't, and we went to exile. We went to 4 exiles. Galus Bavel, Galus Madai, Paras Madai, Galut Yavan, and Galut Edom. We went to exile. We caused it. If we were okay, we will never go to exile. Because we chose wrong, then what happened? Came to the world superpowers, which is other nations, that took the kingdom. And this is the deep meaning of Shchinta Begaluta. The Shechina is in Galus because now other powers seems to be the powers who run the show. And it happened 4 times. Bavel, who destroyed the first Beis HaMikdash, Paras Umadai, Yavan, and Edom. Now, about 2 of them we could understand. Bavel and Edom destroyed the first Beis HaMikdash and the second Beis HaMikdash. Porus we could also understand because we were under their rule during the time of Galus, 70 years of Galus Bavel, and they let Haman to kill us. And that's Purim. Okay? Yavan, it doesn't make any sense according to the simple understanding of what exile is. What exile? Getting out of the country. We never went out of the country under the Greeks. They were the superpower in the world for 180 years. Since the 34th year after the establishment of the second Beis HaMikdash, during 180 years, and they never chased us out of Eretz Yisrael. And Chazal also called it Golus Yovon, and the question is why? And here we come to the following. Golus Yovon, Golus is not just when the nation is not in their place, in their country. The definition of Golus when things are not in their place. This is the definition of Golus. What was Golus Yovon? Says the Maharal. This is amazing. He connected it to this mission that we just learned before. And he says the following. The first 3, Goliath, Malchus, Bavel, Madai, and Yovon, are parallel to Kina, Tava, and Kavod. The 4th one, Edom, Rome, is all of them together. Kina, Tava, and Kavod together. Now let's see. Bavel is Kavod. If you look at Galus Bavel, you look at the description of Nebuchadnezzar Melech Bavel, he was crazy with the Kavod. He built a statue in his image, very high from gold. If you remember the story of Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah. And he says the pasuk that Yeshayahu Navi mentioned, E'ele al bomote av edamel elyon. I will go up to the sky, I will be above the clouds, I'm like God. That's what he thought. So says the Maharal, Bavel is covered. Paras Umadai, is Ta'ava. As you see in Megillas Esther. Parties, Beharoto et Osher Kvod Malchuto, parties, 180 yom, 180 years of parties. Right? Ta'ava is Paras. And here we come to Yavon. Says the Maharal, Yavon is Kina, jealousy. And therefore, Yavon, among those 3, is the worst. The worst of all of them. Why? Because, as you know, there is a special phenomena, terrible phenomena, connected to Golus Yavon. We never find it before, not by Bavel, not by Paras. And this is the phenomena of Mityavnim, Jews who become Hellenists. We never find it. By Galus Bavel, we never find Jews who become Mitbavlelim. In Galus Paras, we never saw Jews who become Mitparsesim, become Persians. But in Galus Yavon, we find Jews who become Yavonim, Misyavnim, Hellenists. Why? Because when we were under the Galus of Bavel, the Jews were in Galus. Of course, it was a dictatorship of Nebuchadnezzar and the Bavel. And you know, if they was going to the street and make a survey about the question, who should be honored in the world? Who is the most important honored person in the world? What should be the expected answer from the people? in the streets under the superpower of Babel. Nebuchadnezzar, the kingdom of Babel. This is the most coveted thing, chashuv, important things. So when they ask the Jews, because they rule the world, they rule the Jews also. If you will ask the Jews at the time, what the Jew will say, he should say Babel, because if not, they're going to kill him. But deep inside, the Jew will laugh to this and say, come on, we know who's the covered. The covered is Hashem is Melech HaKavod. But we wasn't allowed to say it out loud, and that's why we were in Galus. That's called Galus. You could not say it. After 70 years, Babel collapsed and become part of the history. What happened? It was revealed when Babel collapsed. The Babylonians thought that they will never get off from this position of being superpower. They thought so. When it's happened, what's revealed retroactively? That we were right. So we went out of Galus Babel stronger than we went into it, because we knew the truth, and now it's revealed that it was a lie that was in the world for 70 years. So after they gone, who came instead? The Persians. Now what is the ideology? What is the purpose of life? Tava, desire. That was the ideology, the philosophy of the Persians. If, at the time again, they will ask everybody that was under the rule, what is the purpose of life? They will say, fun. The way we sing today, as I said, the Rome is all the three. So they will say fun. So if you ask the Jew, he will have to say fun, if not they're going to kill him. But deep inside they know, the Jews know, fun is very fun. But it cannot be the purpose of life. But we are not allowed to say it. After 52 years, the superpower of Parasamadai collapsed. And we went out of it stronger, because we knew it even before. But now everybody knows it, that it could not be the purpose of life.
52 years?
52. Then they gone, they finished their job, comes the Greeks. Now let me just explain, how much time we have? 15 minutes, okay, I'll try to squeeze it. Let's try to understand what happened when the Greeks came. When the Greeks came, they also offer idea. They have ideology. What was their ideology?
Beauty?
No. Says the Maharal, Yaman is jealousy. And what is jealousy? They brought to the world wisdom. The philosophers. The Greeks philosophers. Wisdom. Human wisdom. And that is the jealousy. When you offer a Jew kavod as an ideology, it doesn't work. They will not buy it. Fun, desire, come on, it could not be the purpose. But because the Jews are smart, when you offer them wisdom, they say, now you're talking. Okay, wisdom, fine. So the jealousy was between the Jewish wisdom and the Greek wisdom. The Greek wisdom was, they realized, they discovered two amazing things. They discover, the Greeks, that the world is very organized. There is something called the laws of nature. There are laws. This is the first thing. The other thing they realize, the human brain, if you will think right, logically, rationally, you could realize the laws of nature, and if you realize how it works, it could give you power. You could control the world. You could control. They discovered this. The first Greek philosophers. And they put the infrastructure for the science of today, until today, right? This is the thing. We could think, if we will think right, we could do experiments, we could know how the world will functioning, and we could use it to our interest. And this includes intellectual effort, and if you do it right, you could get power. When they came with this and offered that to the Jews, they influenced so many Jews at the time and even today that this is the thing, right? Says Maharal, this is Yavan. Yavan is kina, is jealousy. And he says the following, En uman mitkane ella bibnei umanuto. You know, somebody has jealousy on the person that has competition to him, compete to him, right? And here they cause us such a damage. We have to know, we're going to say it in Alanissim. ומסרת גיבורים ביד חלשים ורבים ביד מעטים. Many were many. There were many. They were first of all, they were the superpower at the time. But when we think about the me'atim, the few, you know how few were the few? How few? It seems like the Jewish nation against the Greek superpower. No. Take into account the Mityavnim. The Mityavnim, the Hellenists, the Jews who become Hellenists, was the vast majority of the Jews at the time of Matityahu. They ruled in 180 years, since Alexander the Great to Antiochus. 180 years. During this time, the vast majority, and I mean really the vast majority, more than 98%, even more, of the Jews become Hellenists. Hellenists. There is an amazing source. Go look at it in Sefer Devarim. Moshe Rabbeinu give blessing to each of the Shvatim. Look at the bracha that he gave to Shevet Levi. In Shevet Levi he said, Lo yas'em, at the end of it, I don't have it right here. I'll quote it by heart. It's the last verse, the last pasuk for the bracha to Shevet Levi. It says the following: Barech Hashem chaylo ufo'al yadav tirtzeh mechats motnaim kamav umesan'av min yekumun. He speaks about Shevet Levi, and he gives them the blessing of somebody who go to a war. And it's very interesting because Shevet Levi never was part of the army, even at the time of Moshe Rabbeinu. Shevet Levi was learning Torah. So in the beginning, he gave the bracha that describes Shevet Levi. תומך ואורך על איש חסידך אשר ניסיתו במסע, תריבהו על מי מריבה, האומר לאביו ולאמו לא ראיתי ואת אחיו לא הכיר ואת בניו לא ידע, כי שמרו אמרתך ובריתך ינצורו, יורו משפטיך ליעקב ותורתך לישראל, ישימו קטורה באפיך וכליל על מזבחיך. This is the description. Sorry that I could not translate it because I have no time. But you're Talmid HaChacham you here. You understand the Hebrew, right? The Urim V'Tumim, that he is operating Beis HaMikdash, that he is part of the Sanhedrin, Yoru Mishpatecha Yaakov. It's very typical. But the last verse is not in its place, apparently. Right? Barech Hashem Chaylo. Chaylo is soldiers. So Moshe Rabbeinu gave them bracha that they will be a good soldiers. Ufo'al yadav tirtzeh. Except his deeds. Mechatz motnaim kamav u'mesan'av min yekumun. Make them win the enemies. When? Says Rashi on the spot. Ra'a Moshe Rabbeinu. Look at Rashi. It's very important Rashi to look at it. At this pasuk, right? Baruch Hashem Chelo. Says Rashi, ראה משה רבנו, משה רבנו was לא קם נביא עוד בישראל כמשה. ראה דורו של חשמונאי. He looked at the time of the Hashmonaim and he saw that there were few. And Rashi brings that there were 12 people with Elazar, 13 people, against the entire Greek superpower with the Jews who support them, which was the vast majority of the Jews at the time. When we talk about few, it's unbelievable few. And Moshe Rabbeinu blessed them, and because of this, they won the war. What happened? The Jews become Hellenists. Because when you offer them wisdom, okay, it's our business, it's our area. And they become very, very successful Hellenists. Matityahu, which was a Kohen, he was a Kohen. And he saw, and the Ramban says also about different thing. The Ramban in Perusho LaTorah, about the other bracha that Yaakov Avinu gave to Yehuda. Yehuda, at the end of Sefer Bereshit, it says, "Lo yasur shevet mi Yehuda u'mechokek mi ben raglav." Yehuda will be the ruler, will be the king. About this, look at the Ramban on the spot. The Ramban says that the Hashmonaim, his words, "Shehayu kdoshe elyon." Here I have it. היו קדושי עליון, that וזה היה עונש החשמונאים שמלכו בבית שני. The words of the רמב"ן. כי היו חסידי עליון, ואלמלא הם נשתכחו התורה והמצוות מישראל. They were חסידי עליון, without them the Torah will be forgotten. They caused the Torah to exist. Without them, נשתכחו התורה והמצוות מישראל. As the Greeks went to do, as we say in Al Nisim, להשכיחם תורתך ולהעבירם מחוקי רצונך. Nobody related at the time to the Torah laws. The only laws that was relevant at the time was the Greeks, and the Jews adopted it, hugged it, embraced it. Matityahu came and he knew that here on the stake is the wisdom of the Jewish people and the wisdom versus the wisdom of the Greeks. And they went to impossible war and they won because they were Moser Nefesh. Now, what actually was the war about? About the question what the real reality is. The Greek says, and they saying it until today, even Rome, Golus Edom, as I say, it's mix of Kina, Tava, and Kavod. And one of the things that you for sure are aware of, universities, researchers, science of today, right? What actually they saying? They're saying, we know what the real reality is. The real reality is something that you could feel, you could see, your senses and your human logic understand. This is reality. The other is just stories, is just fairy tales. What the Jew says? The Jew says, you're right, there is such a thing called physical reality, but it's not the real reality. It's part of the bigger picture. There is a physical law, there is physical dimension, but there is a spiritual. The Greeks refused to accept this. No such a thing. Anything that we could not understand logically, scientifically, is not exist. It's a fairy tale. And therefore, all their decrees was about the things that you could not understand. They made the decree not to do bris milah, to work on Shabbos, all the things that you could not understand the benefit in the physical. Because for them, anything, meaning the real debate, the real war, cultural war, was about what the real reality is. And we have to know, and many people do not know it even today. I have to finish with this, but this is a very important message. We have to know, we are not threatened by science. Science is not an enemy of the Torah. We agree that there is a physical thing, and there are laws, and there is wisdom, what we're saying is the following. Physical is part of the big reality. The real thing is understanding that there is Shamayim va'aretz, physical and spiritual. Why Chazal called Yavan Choshech, darkness? Because they take the aretz, they take the physical, and for them, this is the only reality. There is no more further than this. That will take good thing, but put it as a blockage to see the real reality. This is darkness. The light is to understand the place of the physical as a component or a part of the big picture. And this actually was if you summarize what happened, we celebrate we want them. How do we want them? According to their theory, physical and only physical, this is the reality, right? According to the laws of nature, if you have many and few, strong and weak, who's going to win? Who's going to win? The strong many to the few who are weak. There's no way that it will be the opposite, right? So it was a war, and we showed them. And when, a theory in science until today is valid, only if it's explained all the phenomena. If there would be one that should be explained and not explained, it shows that the theory is wrong, right? And it happened. It happened twice. In the Mikdash, in Beis HaMikdash, the oil. Take the 1 jar of oil, measure it, give it to the most professional measurer, people who could measure it. They will tell you it will be good for 12 hours, 24 hours, not 1 second more. And it was a miracle. It broke the laws of nature and shows you that the nature is not the only thing. There is something above the nature that could control the nature. So the theory proved wrong. In the battlefield, few, weak, never could never win the strong many. And it happened. And it proved their theory wrong. And this is the real winning of us over the Greek philosophy. We have to know again, we have no machlokas with them. There are physical, there are laws of nature, as long as they are not contradict that there is a Shem that runs the show, they are very good. We could live with this. But they could not stand it. Because if we were right, they are wrong. Therefore, they went to a war and they lost. And this is Chanukah. There is much more, but that's what we can do in this. Thank you, and I wish a happy Chanukah and a meaningful Chanukah to all of us.